Welcome to this moment. Take a minute to welcome your breath. Feel the sensations of your breath coming in and out. Allow your breath to connect you with your body. As you breathe in, can you feel your breath go to all parts of your body? To your fingers, to your toes, up to the top of your head. To where you're rooted on the ground. And if you're spread out on the ground, all the more roots to enjoy your connection with the earth. And come into this sense of awareness of the world. There we go. Awareness of that. Awareness of our bodies, our breath. This sense of belonging to yourself, to the world. And what gives you that sense of belonging that we can feel grateful for right now? In ourselves, in what we do, in the connections that we nurture, the choices we make with our time. It may be that you yesterday chose to clean your house, and that connects you with an inner sense of peace and calm and joy. Or maybe you decided to go out. And notice the needs met in that. And feel grateful for your choices. Find the, even if it turned out not to be what you wanted it to be, find the joy, the self-connection in your choices, in your body, in the needs met. It's part of our practice of feeling grateful for ourselves, trying to balance out the inevitable, strong inner part of ourselves that sometimes is called the inner critic, but I prefer more of a gentle name. Depends on the day. What are the names that you can reframe? I'd love to hear in the chat. What are some names you can give to reframe your that part of us that doesn't like the choices we make and figures if you get slapped around a little bit and criticized, you'll make different choices next time. And indeed, that might be true. But I find love a little bit more motivated, more of a motivator for me. So I'm going to love and appreciate that part of me that definitely wants us to make other choices, and then focus right now on sort of reframing our choices, reframing our what we've been doing for the last couple of days, weeks, our whole life, if we want to do it that way. I stay away from judgments like, I love that you are reliable. Because it sets up an always, then I'm like ready for myself not to be how I judge myself as reliable. So I try to stick with observations. It's like, I love it when I am able to show up for meditation. I love it when I show up to meet friends and I'm actually a couple of minutes before they are. I didn't used to do that. So we have these sort of like ways that Sherry L, I think, calls them identity jackals, sort of our identities, that we really like to be seen as somebody who, for example, is reliable, somebody who shows up. And then when somebody doesn't see us that way, it's kind of crushing. So then it feeds into that inner part of us that is relentlessly giving us a hard time. So I like celebrating the times that I show up, that I do what I say, and noticing that it's not always. So I love celebrating my mistakes. Yes, I don't do it perfectly all the time. I'm a human being. So for me, that's a need met for grace, for compassion for myself. Particularly the older I get, the more likely I am to forget, to not show up when I say. Particularly with, this is me juggling. Does anybody else juggle? So come back to appreciating yourself, knowing that we do have these what are known as identity jackals, ways that we really like to be seen, and celebrate when we are not that way. I know it sounds crazy, doesn't it? It's like, what? I love it when I show up. I am practicing celebrating my mistakes more and loving that about myself. Who likes somebody who's perfect, right? Bah. Celebrate when you're like, yeah, I love showing up for people and sometimes I don't. And then just breathing into that. Doing a little happy dance for ourselves, no matter what. To be there for ourselves, no matter what. Including the part of ourselves that gives ourselves a hard time. They want us to be safe. It's an early strategy that our parents, I think it's set up by our caregivers, that you'll be safe if you don't make mistakes. That's what was set up for me. So noticing when I'm safe, then I do make mistakes. I can appreciate that about myself. Yeah, that I really value showing up and being reliable. And I can express regret for any impact I had and celebrate in myself that I can stay there. I won't desert myself. I won't throw myself under the bus. I won't kick myself just because there's times that I don't come through. And however people are received, of course, try to clean up any impact and come back to yourself. Appreciation, 100% for yourself, for it all. We can offer that grace to our loved ones. Oh, how to point out that, how not to point out their mistakes is a way of maybe giving grace and appreciation to our loved ones. Just loving them no matter what. expressing our needs when it's going to create connection, when we can do it in a way it's coming from abundance from our heart. And loving our loved ones and their mistakes when they don't do it perfectly. Because it's a good chance they might be harder on themselves than even you. And I hate, bringing it back to like blaming it on caregivers. I think it's part of our species too. It's our survival. So let's come back to appreciation for ourselves, even when we make mistakes. And loving ourselves when we show up too. Then come back to maybe there's neutral people in the world that make mistakes, and forgiving them, appreciating for them being there. Well, thanks for just being here. I can take another minute to meditate while you redo that. Like an example of a mistake from neutral people. Coming out to people that are harder to love, giving them a big high five or not, appreciating them and all they teach us about our needs. And then to all beings in the world, may they all benefit from our practice this morning. May we have unbounded gratitude for ourselves and all beings in the world. Thank you for joining us.